Setlist episode number 4. We got Dylan Vanthuyne out the door, though I hope his door is closed, cause in Canada it's fucking chilly. I don't know what you heard about. Yeah, it was a tough week for making a theme song. So I hope that suffices our guest. But yeah, Setlist episode number 4. Right out the door. I am Brooklyn. This is Andrew. Producer man is here somewhere. But yeah, we have Dylan with us today. Andrew, how do you feel about that?
Very interesting, actually. When I first met Dylan, I noticed the Anderson .Paak poster behind him, and immediately said to myself, "Ooh, this guy's got good taste in music, at least." Yeah. Also, buy our shit.
Buy our shit. And I guess we're in a new office. We upgraded from a studio to a movie theater.
Let me get the theater back, or the recording booth back. I am a tired man today.
I was like, man, we got an upgrade. We got some new upholstery. Got like the what is the material? I guess that makes red carpet. Is that just what is it?
You may not want to know.
No, okay. Like, would Paul McCartney get really mad?
Yes.
Okay.
So would one Willard Wonka. So.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get Dylan in here. Why don't we?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Dylan.
You guys do your thing. I'm going to scram.
Yeah. Dylan, thank you again for coming on. You have an interesting list. It's all over the place. But for those who haven't seen the show before, how this works is I give the guests the same 10 questions and for whatnot, and then we just kind of go through them. But it's a nice little mix of things. We'll start off with question number 1. Who is your favorite artist? And I will say this is somebody that has been on my radar, I guess, like ever since I joined the community. Like I've heard a lot of praise, but I think this is the first time where I'm hearing somebody being like, yeah, this is my favorite.
Yeah. So do I just reveal it now then?
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite artist, this was the easiest one to answer for me because I am just a huge MF Doom fan. That's my favorite artist of all time. Yeah, should we just start like going through his discography?
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, so even before his solo career, he had KMD, which he did with his brother Subrak. And then there's a couple of different members in there. Did a couple of records, and then Subrak passed away. Got hit by a car going across the highway. So you have that, and then you go into 97, and I believe it's Operation Doomsday.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will say his sound is interesting in terms of it's very brash in a way. Like there's a lot of like the beat is very the beat is very complex in a way, like similar to like a Tribe Called Quest and like the East Coast style, like very jazz forward. But I do like it, and I like his his stage presence or how he handles himself overall. But I'm curious, what are your thoughts on his early work?
Yeah, his early work's great. It's interesting because you mentioned the KMD stuff, and like you go back to that, it was like a lot of his stuff in the KMD era was like much more conventional before he like found like his really like signature sound. Like it's still great. Like I love that stuff a lot. But like once he hit Operation Doomsday and he had like gone through like, the trauma of like losing his brother, and then actually like he was basically damn near, he said it was damn near homeless at that era and up until like Operation Doomsday, he recorded and released that. And yeah, I mean, I love just how the thing that catches me the most about him is like he's so charismatic, and like he produces all of his own beats as well, which I think, or not all, but most of them on his solo albums. And he's so charismatic on the mic. His rhyme schemes are like extremely complex. Like the internal rhymes are insane. Like he's made songs where there are barely any words in the verses that like don't rhyme with another word. You know, it's really kind of insane.
He's one of the few rappers that I would put up with like Andre 3000 in terms of just like there's some like polyrhythmic things where it's like the beat changes throughout like that 4-bar phrase where like initially he'll kind of stay on like I guess it'd be the 2 and the 4, but then after a while it's just like it kind of like rolls over and then it kind of like catch up again in a way. I think that's neat. And then we'll get into like 2000, like early 2000s or whatever. Teacher on third base. Oh yeah, the gas face. Yeah. Then we get into King Ghidorah, which one of his like aliases. Victor Vaughn, he did a couple of records under there, but the big one, when like you think of a lot of MF Doom fans, it's Mad Villainy, his collaboration with Madlib, producer. This is an okay album. I listened to it. I think Madlib is the more talented one of I know. I don't know. It's good, but I haven't there are a couple of those great tracks. There was one, two,
all caps.
I don't.
I can't really name tracks for you because I think all of them are great. So I don't. There's not any standout ones for me because they're all amazing.
Figaro was cool. Accordion was interesting. Meat Grinder was great. Oh, it was America's Most Blunted. That was the one that kind of like, okay, I understand where you're going from, because even like with this record as well, you have something that was really popular at the time, and I feel like it's kind of like it's the thing that rappers almost look at on your albums are the quality of your skits, because that's like it's a little bit of like Slim Shady, I guess, as well, in terms of just like that little bit of humor and how it connects to the album itself. It's not hard to tell that MF Doom has a bit of stone rap. Likes talking about the Marahoochies and the marijuanas. But yeah, how do you feel about this album?
This is my number one favorite album of all time. Which, yeah. So that kind of hurt listening to, but you know, I get where you're coming from. Like it's one that has like so much hype around it. I could understand people not like fully connecting with those expectations, but like, yeah, to me this is like just the perfect combination of a rapper and a producer, where like Madlib takes his like traditional like lo-fi jazzy hip-hop sound that he uses with his beats, and he also combines a lot of like the quirkiness and like the playfulness that, you know, goes very well with how MF Doom is, because he's very like playful on the mic and has like a lot of just like random references and a lot of like just funny one-liners, and even like the use of like random onomatopoeia in songs, which is like really, really interesting. You know, it kind of adds to like the overall comic booky feel that he has, because, you know, he has the comic book aesthetic with the mask and stuff. So
to take away or to step aside from the discography, that I do want to talk about him as a performer, because it's fucking incredible. I feel like it's easy to say that he is the most successful byproduct of the Fantastic Four. Like no questions about it. It's interesting to lean this hard into a supervillain role, and like the mask and everything, and even the characters that he has, like Victor Vaughn, obviously, and then the cover art as well. But the thing that I wanted to talk to you about is that I learned that over his tours, there would be these imposters that would possibly go called Doombots. And at first I was like, oh, what a fucking joke. Like, you're going to send somebody else. But then it's like, oh, but that's also kind of cool though, because if you're able to send somebody out that's like just as talented as you, like that shows that you're kind of like a really good curator.
They
But where do you stand on the whole Doombot thing? Because I've heard even people like, I'd go pay to see a Doombot as opposed to just Doom himself.
Yeah, I would not pay to see that. That's the one thing where it's like, I've always said back when MF Doom was alive, because unfortunately he did tragically pass away in 2020. When he was alive, I was like, yeah, he's my favorite rapper, probably my favorite artist ever, but I would probably never buy a ticket to a show for that reason. It is funny because like a lot of it does go with his persona very well, of like he's always like really just not like the celebrity part of it, which is why he's like adopted the mask and like hid his face, even though, you know, you go back to the KMD era, you can see his face like everywhere from pictures from that time. But yeah, it's like, I get it. I think it's kind of interesting for his persona, but I wouldn't pay money to go see it.
Yeah. So then we get into the later 2000s, and he has albums. He's like Danger Doom. He has Born Like This. He has the collaboration with Ghostface Killah. And then you see also as well that he has a bit of like a tie-in with Adult Swim. I forget if it's he wrote the theme for Adult Swim, or Adult Swim theme is like sampled in one of his songs. But I think it's just what.
So for the Adult Swim thing, the album that he did with Danger Doom, The Mouse and the Mask, that is all in collaboration with Adult Swim. Basically, there's like samples from a lot of like Adult Swim shows. It's like
crazy.
Yeah. And he did like a lot of like commercials for Adult Swim and stuff. He was like, they did a lot of partnerships and
I forget which album it was, but I think it was around. Was it around this time, or was it more the Czarface era, where there was a lot of complaint where like there wasn't as much Doom. Like it was kind of the same complaints we were getting from Dr. Dre, whereas there was a lot more collaborations, and it didn't feel like as genuine to his sound. But I mean, it's always cool. Like if you have Ghostface Killah on your album, or you want him collaborating with you, I think that's I think you're batting 1,000 there.
See, there's another thing. That album Doomstarks never was released, which makes me very sad. It's one of those like detox situations where it was like rumored forever, and they were both like teasing it a lot, and it never came out. Which it feels like, even though like people talk about Detox as like the album that, you know, everyone wants to hear, that never came out, but for me that's like my Detox, where it's like, man, that would have been so good, because I'm a huge Ghostface Killah and Wu-Tang Clan fan as well. So yeah.
Then we get into the 2010s, and this is where he gets into a little bit of the trouble with the states. You can't actually get back into the country because of a European tour. But then you have, I would say the like if you couldn't pick Mad Villainy, I think Key to the Cuffs would be like a solid like number 2. I feel like it's kind of a more it's like underlooked, I guess, but like of the MF Doom fans, I feel like that's one that they kind of relate to more. But yeah, there's a lot because there's a lot of talk in that one about his relationship with the US, and just how it was just weird. But he's oddly international, but it's like weird considering that like he grew up in London, spent a lot of time in the States, and then got back, and then he couldn't get back in. And then there was this whole fucking thing about like, because like Joe Biden had him on his like inauguration playlist, which is great, which is fucking crazy, because like Joe Biden is the definition of senile. So yeah, how do you feel about Key to the Cuffs and like his whole relationship with
Hold on. As the lone American here, I'm the only one who gets to make jokes like that. You're still correct.
But yeah, Key to the Cuffs. Sorry, I forgot you asked a question. Yeah, I like this album a lot. I wouldn't put it like super high up in MF Doom's discography. Like his later stuff, I feel like it's still really good. even by like any other rapper standards, it'd probably be like amazing for me. But for me, it's just sort of like more icing on the cake from his earlier stuff. Like Food is probably like my second favorite after Mad Villainy, but Key to the Cuffs is still like really, there's some really great songs on there. Like Governor is really, really cool. I can't remember the name of the producer that he worked with on this album. I think it's like Gennaro something, but his beats are very interesting. They're very different from a lot of the ones that
Gennaro Jarrell.
Yeah. So yeah, his beats are like slightly more experimental and weirder than what MF Doom usually raps over, which I think is pretty interesting. Like him just still experimenting and like trying to, you know, I like when rappers try to like go over different styles of production even later on in their career and like still trying to challenge themselves. I think that's pretty cool.
So, absolutely. Yeah. There's like that's kind of one of the big dilemmas, I guess, as artists move forward rather. In that you could constantly push for new sound, but then you have the risk of like being like, oh well, you're not like this isn't you. You're just trying to go for the new beat. But I think that moniker, or I think that style kind of works for Doom because like even the because like even how he writes and whatnot, or how he presents himself, like he goes all in with the character, very very super villainy, where it's not so much like I'm not here to appease the fans. I just want to kind of stay on brand, and whether that's doing all these kind of different little things. But yeah, he didn't really do a ton after that. I'm trying to think, his last album was
I think it was the last one. I think it was semi-posthumously released with Czarface. They did a follow-up to their first album called Super What. Yeah. Which both of his albums that he did to Czarface, by the way, are like fantastic. By the way.
Yeah, baby.
Now, two more things before we move on. MF Doom has often been considered as your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
Yes.
And I think the real important question here as an MF Doom fan, Cheetos, Fritos, or Doritos?
I'm more of a Cheetos guy, I'd say. Especially flaming hot. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, spicy anything. But like Fritos suck, and then Doritos, the only good variety is sweet chili heat. And I'll kind of stand by that.
I like Doritos, but sweet chili heat is easily the best.
Yeah. What? All right. On to question number 2. Your favorite song to dance to.
Yes.
Talk about this because I fucking love it.
Oh, good. I was a little worried about some of these ones. This, I believe, if I'm not getting mistaken for the other one, is a song by Parquet Courts, which is a band that I'm a big fan of from, I believe, New York. But they're a post-punk band. The song's called Wide Awake. The title track off of their 2019 album, I believe, Wide Awake. It's like just a really like bouncy, fun, like post-punk track with like some really great like group vocals on the chorus, which is really fun. And yeah, it's just got a great groove to it. That's just, so I'll be honest, I don't do a lot of dancing. But when I'm in a,
are you saying that you are Troy Bolton and that you don't dance?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll do a 2-step. This is like favorite song to 2-step too. But yeah, I like this song is just whenever it comes on, I'm like, it's a really fun song just to move to. And yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was gonna completely agree. Threw it on earlier today, and it's a fucking bop. Fuck, why are you doing that? But no, I like the swingy kind of feel of it. But as because I want to share the album cover of this, and I think it encapsulates the feel of the album. Yeah. If that's not 3 white guys dancing to this song, I don't. Sorry, 2. I guess a white guy, a Hispanic guy, and an African American, but a nice eclectic mix. But it's just like you've seen everybody just kind of like throw their arms and kind of like that funky kind of swing to it. But yeah, no, this is a really good listen. Highly recommend checking it out. But we'll go right into question number 3. What is your favorite song currently in the top 500?
Yeah, so I had to just default and go to like the one that I listen to the most, and I think like of all the songs on the top 500, the one that I like find myself keep coming back to over and over again, it would be, it's a cliche pick, but it would be "Gimme Shelter" by the Rolling Stones.
God,
yeah, look, is it like spammed like constantly in movies, like especially by like Martin Scorsese? Yes, but to me, this is one of those songs that just never loses its luster for me. And every time I hear it, just yeah, so many great the vocals, just how they get like super intense and just like shrieking. Like I don't know the name of the guest vocalist on the song, but
Mary Clayton.
Yeah, she's fantastic on it. Yeah, just the instrumental to it is great. It's just a very addictive song. I listen to it many times, like pretty much every year. So yeah.
Yeah, I will agree in that this is used in any movie regarding Vietnam alongside Fortunate Son. But yeah, the relationship that Mary Clayton and Mick Jagger have in this is spot on. I think they match each other so well, and Mick does a surprisingly good job as a supporter. I didn't, because he's so much as a front man and whatnot. And then you're right as well with the instrumental and that, like whenever they don't come in, the rhythm section is just having a fun time with this, and that like they're just riffing off of Keith Richards solo, and at the same time kind of building up the tension for whenever Mary and Mick come back in. As from a musician perspective, it is kind of boring because it is just the same 3 chords. So there isn't really a ton. Like it's, I know it's simple and it's fun one time. But if I was the Rolling Stones, I had to play this every day. I get so tired of it.
Okay, hold on. You're talking about the fact that it's just 3 chords? Let's remember that Dreams is 2 chords. So,
but see, Dreams does a really good job of keeping the tension with those 2 chords. This is 3 chords just on loop, and like there is no continuation with that. It's just like they may as well have just made the one loop of it and then just kept it through.
It's the foundation, though, because everything else is building upon that. Sorry, I had to get that out there. Also, fun fact: what was the other singer's name in this again? Mary
Clayton.
Thank you. Fun fact: when her voice breaks during her bit, very gently in the background, you can hear Mick Jagger go "woo" because he was so impressed with that moment. All right, bye.
Wow. Huh. Interesting. I'll have to find that.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing Bart say that one time before, and then I re-listened to the song, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's cool."
Shit. All right. On to question number 4. Your favorite concert. Never heard of this person, but I'm curious.
Yeah. So, little side note: I haven't been to many concerts because I live in a place where not a lot of artists that I'm super interested go to. So like the closest would be in Edmonton, and I'd have to drive like 5 hours to get there. So yeah, my favorite concert that I've been to, which was actually just this past year, would be Isaiah Rashad, which I actually got this hoodie from. It's pretty cool. Oh, it's on the other side. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The Lil Sunny tour. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I mean, Isaiah Rashad, first of all, he's a hip hop artist who is in like TDE, which was obviously Kendrick Lamar's now former label. And he's collaborated with a lot of the people in that label a lot. And yeah, he makes very like laid back, chill hip hop. Also, he's got some like more upbeat, like hype songs as well, but like mainly it's like very laid back stuff. So as you could probably imagine, I was like maybe the only sober person there. Like there's a massive cloud of marijuana smoke like hovering over everyone. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. The crowd had a great energy. The tracks that he picked were great. Like he started it off with a song called "R.I.P. Young," which is fantastic, off of his newest album, "The House Is Burning," which it's what he mainly played tracks from. It was just a really great experience, and yeah, I just had a fun time with it.
Anybody open for him at all, or was there any acts that you discovered because of going to this concert?
Well, there was like 2 opening acts that I can remember. One was Ray Vaughn, who's like the newest signee to Top Dog Entertainment, who I had heard of, but I hadn't really dived into his music before. He was really good. Like there were some songs that he played that I ended up like adding to my Apple Music library afterwards because it was great. Like he has a song called Tap, which is really, really catchy. So that's a fun one. But yeah, I can't remember the guy who went first, but he was really good. I tried looking it up later and I couldn't find anything. But yeah.
Yikes. Now you drove to Edmonton for the concert. Did you stop at the West Edmonton Mall, the greatest thing I think in Canada, or the thing that we can like kind of gloat about?
Of course, it's the central hub of consumerism in Canada. It's great.
Absolutely. Okay, on to question. No, where are you? There we are. Question number. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Mr. Producer Man. Your favorite music video. How did you come across this? Because this is incredible.
Yeah, so this music video, first of all, it's for a song called "Ain't It Funny" by Danny Brown. This is one I actually came across because before this album dropped, called Atrocity Exhibition, which is fantastic. I was actually a fan of Danny Brown before then, so I was like very excited for the album. And this song is like one of the more insane songs on the album, where it's basically about, the whole album is basically about his drug addiction. And this one is really like where it's like full, and this ties into the video too, where it's like that being like a spectacle in his music and people not taking it seriously because he makes like this like quote unquote fun music that you're supposed to just sit back and enjoy, which like ties into the music video as well with like so I'll get into the video then. I'm sorry, I didn't really answer your question very well, but
no, that's fine.
I was a fan of the artist before then, and then I found the video when it came out. But yeah, the video is like basically this parody of a sitcom, except extremely, extremely dark. Like it starts out like basically when it introduces them. First of all, Gus Van Sant is in this for some reason. It's got a really weird cast. It's directed by Jonah Hill. And it's probably the best thing he's ever directed. It gets really dark. There's a kid who has like red laser eyes at one point, and it's really going deep in depth into like basically, well, just literally like his drug addiction. And there's like actual pills that show up, like Xanax, I think it is, that like end up stabbing him in the video. And the kid walks into frame and then just looks in the camera and saying, "Stop laughing," to the audience who is like watching him just suffer. Basically, is it subtle? No, but I don't think it needs to be, because it's just it's freakish and it's really good.
Yeah, I like the in the music video itself. I like how they introduce the kid. It's like just like this fucking kid, because he's literally just there for the catchphrases and gone. But yeah, the favorites, like my favorite song of anything that we've talked about so far. I think it's catchy as fuck, and I think the video is really cool because you have that moment where like he's on the bed. And there's like his girlfriend, and then his mother or something along those lines. But then it flips back and forth to them being violently murdered in that same spot. And I think it just shows an interesting thing of like where it's him trying to say like I was very close to like snapping and just kind of like losing it all in that moment, and you guys were just there for the laughter. Yeah, I think it is. I think it's kind of cool where it's just like it's an interesting look at you guys you guys won't be there to support me at my worst, but whatever. Like we're all kind of chasing those headlines in a sense, like to kind of kind of an aside piece, like with John Mulaney. I know that was kind of an interesting one because like a lot of people adored him, but at the same time, it was just like, oh, he's in rehab now. Let's see how he's doing. Not necessarily for support, but more so just to see like if he's still alive. But yeah, a really cool video. Very 90s, very like Dylan said, very dark. But I think it's at least a one-time watch.
Yeah. It's got a look. It's also got a really interesting look where it literally looks like you taped it off of a VHS. Like this was just playing randomly, and you just taped it on a VHS, and it's really cool. Just the whole aesthetic is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now we go from the highs of the highs in question number 5, favorite music video, and then we go to question number 6 in your favorite musical. Dylan, you have some explaining to do. Yeah, what is this?
Oh, good. So you did watch it. This is a movie called The Tune.
What?
From I'm not going to be able to talk, am I? It's from the Independent.
Checkmate, Brainiac!
It's from Bill Plimpton, who is an animator that I'm quite fond of. The music is, I think, composed by a lady named Maureen McElroy. She wrote most of the music. It's a very odd film, to say the least. Basically, how this film came together, like a lot of it, which you could this probably wouldn't come as too much of a surprise to you. It's a lot of short films that were taken and then basically made into a movie itself. So like if you go on like, basically a lot of these films were just released by him beforehand, just as separate short films and then tied into a movie. And there's a lot of like weird stuff. It's basically about a guy who's like trying to write a tune, like a hit song for this like asshole record producer guy, and he needs to get it fast. And he ends up going on this odyssey from place to place where he finds like these random people performing these very weird songs that often involve that are paired. It's like very normal sounding music, by the way, but it's paired with like the most.
Normal's a word.
I'd say. Well, it's like not super experimental music, but it's paired with like these weird ass visuals that it makes it like very, very strange. And it's like there's a lot of like, I don't know. I just enjoy it. Like his style is like, there's a lot of bodily transformations in it where people's faces like are morphed and transformed. And that's like a lot of common thread throughout most of his movies. It's a very weird film, but if you like experimental shit, I guess check it out. I don't know. I kind of picked it because I was like, look, everyone knows Singing in the Rain. I wouldn't be surprised if someone had already brought it up, but this is another one that's in my top 100 because I love this movie and I wanted to talk about it and get people, at least put it on people's radar because it's a weird one. And yeah, I'm very scatterbrained right now, but this is like it's a very scatterbrained movie. So
yeah. I did not see this movie, but I listened to the first 3 songs, and I agree with you, and that this is not very like it's very normal sounding. It is normal sounding in a way, but it's like these songs adore the 50s, and they love 50s. They love 50s country, and like 50 and like the opening number as well. I think is like more of a swing tune. But you kind of 180'd me on it because when you're like, oh, the visual is very kind of experimental, and that's right up my alley. Like I like the kind of like the plainy music with like this like what the fuck shit that's happening like on the screen itself. But I was amazed because I was like, an animated musical from '93 that wasn't made by Disney. So it's like, all right, I understand why like nobody probably heard about it. I guess it just would have gotten like vacuumed into the Disney sphere. But I have I'm not as well versed in musicals, but I do have a musical guy, and that's just Andrew. But Andrew, what are your thoughts on this? Have you ever heard of this before?
You're muted.
You're muted.
I look like an idiot. More of an idiot. I've heard of it. Never seen it.
That's fair. At the very least, I think like even if you don't want to check out the movie, which by the way, it's only like 70 minutes, but check out some of the shorts on YouTube because like they released a lot of just like obviously you can just look up the musical numbers like and a lot of them are fantastic. Like Lovesick Hotel is a short that I come back to often, and it's like one of the more catchier songs in the track list for me, but that's also probably because it's the short film I come back to the most often. And yeah, if you're just listening to the music on its own, I could see how you could get a completely
experience.
Because the actual visuals that it's paired with are like, what the fuck is even happening right now? It's like borderline incomprehensible, and that's the type of shit that I like.
Nice. Okay, on to question number 7. Your most overrated act. I kind of hinted at it with the theme.
Yep.
But let it all out. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, so 50 Cent, I'm not the biggest fan of. I will say the song that you brought up, PIMP, is actually a good song. That's one of the ones I like. I also like songs like Many Men. And in fact, I would go as far to say that Get Rich or Die Trying is a good album, but I would say that mostly because of the production. For 50 Cent, just the way he raps has never grabbed me. Like, I think it's like a lot of just ABC rhyme schemes. I find his voice and flow to be just like super monotonous and boring. And yeah, I just his production is like fantastic, obviously, because this is I think Dr. Dre produced some of it. I could be wrong. I feel like that's me exposing myself for some of my lack of knowledge on 50 Cent. However, what I've heard, I'm not a super big fan of it, and I think like a lot of his albums that he released past Get Rich or Die Trying are just like straight up awful. Like, if you're known for just like basically one great album and no one even talks about any of the albums past that, I think that's not really a great sign. But yeah, I'm not a big 50 Cent fan. Oh, and it also doesn't help that he's a bit of a piece of shit in real life. So
you did not have to do that. You knew you did not have to do that. How could you have done that? Can you live with yourself?
I feel like I had to throw it in there.
Oh yeah. So yeah, 50, so you are right in that he was kind of collaborated mostly with Dr. Dre, discovered by Eminem, and then kind of under the wing of Aftermath Records.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree in that the production value is much better. PIMP is fucking great, especially when you get to like the G Unit. Everybody at school kind of quoted that. But I will say that like going back and listening to 50 Cent, I do agree hasn't held up as well. It's like kind of bad mumble rap at times, especially when you get to songs like Into Club. You can't really make out what he's saying in the verses at all, and there is enough of a rhythm on it for it to kind of justify. But like, if you want to talk about like just beats of 50 Cent songs, I would put fucking like Candy Shop is a great beat. Like we were saying, PIMP. 21 Questions is another great one. Like just that one guitar. This kind of has a nice flow to it. But yeah, I think because you were going on about how he's kind of a piece of shit, and I think the last thing that I heard of him being a piece of shit was was it at an airport or something?
Yes.
Where he he assaulted a fan.
He pulled it was even worse than that. So he pulled out a camera and was basically bullying and following and mercilessly making fun of someone with a mental disability who was working at the airport. So yeah, not a good person.
Yeah,
this 50 Cent guy.
Go fuck yourself. Andrew, did you want to add on to that at all? Did you also want to say go fuck yourself to 50 Cent?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Okay. On to question number 8. This is the one that I like to tie it back into the community because we are a big movie trivia community. So there's a big admiration of movies. So question number 8, your favorite score. You went with something.
I saw your rating on Letterboxd for this.
Yeah. Let's hear it. What's your favorite score?
So my favorite score of all time would have to be Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me score by Angelo Badalamenti, I think is how it's pronounced.
I think so.
Yeah. This is like it's a very jazzy score. And again, just like with the tune, it's also paired with some very insane visuals. But I really enjoy the movie. And the score is like, it's very, like I said, jazzy and incorporates like a lot of like slower moving songs, but then it also gets like very twisted in parts. And I'm not gonna lie, 90% of the reason why I chose this song is for a little piece of music called Pink Room, I think it's called, which is not easily, it's like one of my favorite pieces of music in any movie ever. Like it's like fantastic and just super dark and menacing. And just, yeah, like I don't listen to a lot of like music for like scores from movies separately on its own, but like that's one of the ones where I can just like put it on and just like listen to it separately. And yeah, the rest of it is like mostly pretty chill jazzy stuff that I can also put on while I'm doing work and stuff. And yeah, I just really enjoy it, and I love how it pairs with the movie itself. But yeah. Tear it apart.
So the movie sucks. The movie's all over the place. It has interesting scenes where it's, and like there's like that one little guy in the room, and they have subtitles for him, even though you can clearly make out like what he's saying, and it's just like why you're just kind of adding that for effect. But I do agree. I like the score for this. It's probably the best part of it. It has a jazzy feel. I forget the scene, but I think it's when something to do with, I think it was something to do with Laura. But there was a saxophone that came in. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But it also hits the horror theme quite well, and that it lingers in a way. This has that like very John Carpenter-esque kind of like slow moving note, and it just very eerie as well.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like doing it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So you haven't seen any of the TV show Twin Peaks, I assume? Then?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I was a scaredy cat as a kid.
That's fair. Yeah, I just wanted to double check because it. Yeah.
So I don't have that tie into the show, unfortunately. But I was looking. This is like the only like real big score that he did. The only other one was Mulholland Drive.
He most frequently worked with David Lynch on like a lot of his stuff. Like, yeah.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah. David Lynch is definitely. I think this is the first like real David Lynch movie that I've seen.
It's an experience.
He gets into some weird stuff, like really into body horror and just kind of like, and like the whole scene. I think was it Ray Wise? Yeah, because he's talking about like when they're at the dinner table, they're talking about the Norwegian there's a Norwegian family coming over and they're trying to learn this phrase, and they're all like it descends into them literally holding hands, singing a song of just this phrase, and it just doesn't end. But yeah, it's a movie. With some good music. Question number 9, your favorite soundtrack, and I think you're going to redeem yourself a little bit with this.
Yes. So this is the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood soundtrack that I picked. This holds a lot of like I guess not nostalgic value, but like personal, like it's like it hits home for me because like this movie, I saw it with my friends, and they became like instantly obsessed with it because they're more into Quentin Tarantino than me. And I really liked the movie a lot. But the soundtrack was like my main takeaway of like the music in it was just like so good. And, you know, a lot of it's from like all of it pretty much is from like the 60s, from that era, from basically when Quentin Tarantino grew up. And it's like just really fun. When it came out, me and my friends were just constantly like, whenever we're in like the car, just on a road trip or something, we would just throw this on and just have that playing in the background. So basically it kind of, in terms of favorite soundtracks, I kind of had to pick it because it's the one that I've just listened to the most, and it's one of the few that I actually own on vinyl. And yeah, I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, this would be pretty cool to have on vinyl. I like the overall curation, I guess, on this. This seems very much like Quentin Tarantino kind of handpicked a couple of these. Because if you are familiar with Quentin Tarantino loves cocaine. So he likes these like they're like groovy, but they're also very high energy and like kind of like they're just like kind of like rushing itself at times. And I think that kind of fits for this movie as well. This movie is fucking long. I haven't finished it. I got like an hour and a half to do it one time, and then I fell asleep. But I think that's also just because I started it too late. But I like how it kind of fits the pace of the movie, and that it's a lot of it is highway rock. Like you have your Bob Seger, you have your Deep Purple, you have fucking classics like Mrs. Robinson, you have some Neil Diamond in there as well. A really cool cover of California Dreamin'. I would think that this is better. Like I would rather have this on vinyl than rather have like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in Blu-ray. Because I feel like you could almost separate the love for them in two different ways. But Andrew, I'm curious as to your thoughts on this, because a lot of these artists will be up your alley, and then I'm not sure how you feel about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I haven't really listened to it since the film came out. I really like the film a lot, but I don't love it. It's not one of my favorite Tarantinos, but I will admit that from a technical aspect, it's very good. The music is great. The acting is fantastic. It's just one that didn't click for me. So that's my thoughts.
All right. And to end off the show, your favorite song to perform and sing. I was pleasantly surprised about this one, but go ahead.
Yeah, this one's a lot of fun. Look, this might sound slightly out of character for me, but a song that I really love is a little R&B pop tune called BMO by Ari Lennox, or also known as Break Me Off. The song is, not her.
This isn't a song about the Bank of Montreal?
No, that's what I immediately thought when I saw it too, though.
Canadian jokes.
Inside baseball, yes.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this for me is like, so first of all, if you don't have like a female sang R&B tune that you can just wail at the top of your lungs at a party when very drunk, when it comes on, then I don't know what to say to you, but this is that for me, because this song is just so much fun. When I first heard it, I thought it was like really great, but it wasn't until like later listens where I was like, oh my God, this is actually like one of my favorite songs ever, because it's got this, it's just so catchy too. It's just so catchy. Like I keep wanting to come back to it, and just to like for the chorus, and just like the lyrics are like super fun, and like, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those ones where when I really love a song, it's almost harder for me to explain why. I just kind of need to listen to it and be like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
I really like it. It has this bounce to it that you don't really see anymore, especially in R&B. If we're talking about female-led R&B songs that we just have to sing like when like at a party, just so that we have them in our back pocket. I think that was Independent Women Part 1 or Survivor by Destiny's Child for me growing up. Like they were ready and they were fucking bops. But my favorite thing about this song is that it doesn't resolve itself a lot. And what I mean by that is that like they play like the third or the fifth of the root key or whatever. So like they do go back to it at some point in the beat, but it's just for like 2 seconds, and then it goes right back into like the like kind of building the tension again. And I think that this is a really good job. But yeah, I'd really recommend checking this out if you are a big fan of Destiny's Child and that era of like early R&B. But that is going to end today's show. A little shorter one. But a couple of questions for you to kind of end it off. Who are some people that you would like to see on the show, and who are some artists that you're listening to right now that you think people should be checking out?
So like people from the first question is like people from this community that we would like to see. Okay. Who's been on the show so far? Because none of them have been uploaded yet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so people on the curtain. These are before 2023.
Okay.
So it's been Amaru so far, Corey, and then we had somebody actually from PEI on a musician from here. So
yeah. Well, then I would love to see Bill Carriola on the show. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I'm sure someone's probably, if you asked this to other people, they probably would have said that too. But his taste in music, I think, is like one of the best in this community, and like one of the most broad as well. But yeah. Always learning about like new artists from him and whatnot. But yeah, who are you listening to right now, or like people that we should be checking out? Okay, interesting. So some of my favorite music that I've been listening to just from this year that I would recommend. There's a couple underground rappers.
Yeah. How was your Warped, or how was your Wrapped? Was your Spotify Wrapped good?
So my Apple Music replay, because unfortunately I'm a stupid Apple Music user and I get punished for it every year. Yeah. It was interesting. Apparently my most listened to album. Apparently my most listened to album was Last Ones Left by 42 Doug and ESTG, which is a good album, but it's not what I expected, because I wouldn't really consider it like one of my top favorites. I guess I just came back to it a lot. But some underground artists that I'm listening to a lot recently, Red Veil had a really good album this last year. Is like a very like soulful, I guess, also in the laid back rap style. And he's like also like very young. Like I think he like just turned like 19 or some shit. He's got so much potential. It's crazy. But yeah. Also Denzel Curry, big fan of him. Smino has a really good album this year. Yeah, those are some lesser known artists, I guess, for this community that I would recommend.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Spotify Wrapped was fucking weird. Weird for me, because like I pulled up top 5 songs and it was like, oh, Spoken Out the Window, 777,
nice.
Oh God, Leave the Door Open, and I was like, did I really listen to Silk Sonic that much? And then I was going back through it, and I was like this time last year, that was the only album that I listened to, purely because I enjoyed it, but also because I had to prep for a debate with Caleb Coho and Andrew Barr, and we had to debate what was the best song off of that record, and I stand by that After Last Night is the best song on that record. Was Spoken Out the Window.
Definitely came in third place in that debate. I would just
absolutely. Absolutely. But Andrew,
it's close. Yeah. I would go with Smoking Out the Window personally, but
that's the correct answer.
After Last Night, is that the one? That's the one with Thundercat, right?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I don't know what you did, but you did it, girl. But yeah, Andrew, how was your rap this year? Was yours also bombarded by songs for like the list?
No, actually. It was very diverse. My top song of the year is one that might be appearing on our list. So I won't tell you what song that was. But it was very interesting. I also had "Smoking Out the Window" was like my number 2 song of the year. So like so Sonic.
Oh, also Blast Off as well. Blast Off is such a great closer to that record. Yeah.
I mean, I like all the songs, so.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, thank you, Dylan, for coming on today. Tune in next time where we ask somebody else the exact same 10 questions. So cheers, guys, and as always, drive safely.
Boy.